What if I told you that curry powder isn't actually a traditional curry ingredient at all? In fact, the yellow powder sitting in millions of kitchen cabinets around the world isn't a single spice, doesn't come from a curry plant, and isn't even used in the same way in many of the places people associate with curry. That might sound surprising, especially since curry powder has become one of the most recognizable seasonings on grocery store shelves. So, what exactly is curry powder made of? Where did it come from? And why do so many people misunderstand it? The answer is far more fascinating than most people realize. Welcome to Consumer's Choice Top 5, where we uncover food mysteries, explain everyday ingredients, and reveal the surprising stories behind the foods we eat. Today, we're exploring one of the world's most famous spice blends and discovering what's really inside curry powder. Before we get started, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments whether you currently have curry powder in your kitchen. You may be using it regularly without knowing the full story behind it. Let's start with the biggest misconception of all. Many people think curry powder comes from a plant called curry. That seems logical enough. After all, garlic powder comes from garlic. Onion powder comes from onions. So surely curry powder comes from curry, right? Actually, no. Curry powder is not a single ingredient. It's a blend of multiple spices mixed together. Depending on the brand and recipe, the exact ingredients can vary significantly. This means there is no universal curry powder recipe. One manufacturer's curry powder may taste quite different from another's. That's because each company can adjust the blend to create its own flavor profile. So, what's usually inside curry powder? The most common ingredient is turmeric. Turmeric is responsible for the bright yellow color that most people immediately recognize. Without turmeric, curry powder wouldn't have that familiar golden appearance. But turmeric is only the beginning. Most curry powders also contain spices such as coriander, cumin, ginger, black pepper, fenugreek, and chili powder. Some blends may include cinnamon, cloves, cardamom, mustard seed, nutmeg, or other spices as well. Think of curry powder like a music playlist. The playlist may contain many songs, but different people create different playlists. The same idea applies here. Curry powder is a collection of spices blended together, and every recipe is slightly different. This leads to an important question. If curry powder isn't a single spice, then where did it come from? The answer takes us back hundreds of years. Many people associate curry powder with India, but the story is a little more complicated than that. India has a long tradition of cooking with spices. However, Indian cooks traditionally combine individual spices in countless different ways depending on the dish being prepared. There isn't one universal spice blend called curry powder that everyone uses. Instead, many Indian recipes use custom spice mixtures created for specific dishes. When British traders and officials spent time in India during the colonial era, they encountered these flavorful spice combinations and wanted a convenient way to recreate similar flavors back home. The result was curry powder. Rather than mixing individual spices every time they cooked, manufacturers created ready-made blends inspired by some of the flavors they encountered in Indian cuisine. In other words, curry powder was developed as a convenient shortcut. That's one reason the title of this video says it's not real curry. Traditional curries are incredibly diverse. They can vary dramatically from region to region, city to city, and even family to family. A single yellow spice blend can't fully represent all those different flavors. Yet curry powder became extremely popular because it offered convenience. Instead of buying 6 or 8 separate spices, people could purchase one container and achieve a similar flavor profile. That convenience helped curry powder spread around the world. Today, you'll find it in supermarkets across North America, Europe, Australia, and many other regions. Now let's talk about flavor. What does curry powder actually taste like? The answer depends on the blend, but most curry powders combine earthy, warm, slightly sweet, and mildly spicy flavors. Turmeric contributes earthiness. Cumin adds warmth. Coriander provides citrus-like notes. Ginger brings brightness. Chili peppers contribute heat. Together, these ingredients create the complex flavor people recognize as curry powder. What's fascinating is that no single ingredient completely defines the taste. Instead, it's the combination that matters. Remove one spice and the blend changes. adjust the proportions and the flavor shifts. This is why different brands can taste surprisingly different. Some are mild and sweet, others are bold and spicy, some emphasize turmeric, others focus more heavily on cumin or coriander. The variety is part of what makes curry powder so interesting. Now here's something many people don't realize. Curry powder isn't necessarily spicy. A lot of people assume anything labeled curry must be hot. That's not always true. Some curry powders contain very little chili pepper and have only a mild level of heat. Others contain more chili and produce a spicier experience. That's why it's always a good idea to check the label if you're sensitive to spicy foods. Let's pause for a moment. When you hear the words curry powder, do you think of something mild or something spicy? Let us know in the comments because people often have very different experiences depending on the brand they've tried. Another reason curry powder became so popular is its versatility. It works with a wide variety of foods. Chicken, beef, seafood, vegetables, soups, rice dishes, roasted potatoes, and even salad dressings can benefit from curry powder. Some people sprinkle it into scrambled eggs. Others use it in marinades. Many cooks add it to stews and sauces. Its flexibility makes it one of the most widely used spice blends in the world. And because it already contains multiple spices, it's easy to use. One spoonful can add a surprisingly complex flavor to a dish. That's a big reason why home cooks appreciate it. You don't need a spice rack containing 20 different ingredients. You simply reach for one container. Now let's talk about turmeric for a moment because it's arguably the most important ingredient in most curry powders. Turmeric comes from the root of a plant related to ginger. It's famous for its bright yellow color and has been used in cooking for centuries. Without turmeric, many curry powders wouldn't look like curry powder at all. In fact, if you've ever spilled curry powder on a shirt, you've probably learned just how powerful turmeric's coloring ability can be. Those yellow stains can be surprisingly difficult to remove. This strong color is one reason curry powder stands out visually as well as flavorfully. Another interesting fact is that curry powder isn't used the same way everywhere. In some countries, it's primarily used in home cooking. In others, it's found in packaged foods, snacks, soups, and sauces. Some fast food restaurants even incorporate curry-inspired seasonings into menu items. The result is that millions of people consume curry powder regularly without thinking much about what's actually inside it. That's why this simple pantry ingredient has such an interesting story. It's familiar, yet misunderstood. Common, yet surprisingly complex. Let's clear up another misconception. Many people think all curries taste the same. Nothing could be further from the truth. The word curry covers an enormous range of dishes made with different ingredients, spices, cooking methods, and regional traditions. Some curries are creamy, others are tomato-based, some are mild, others are extremely spicy, some contain seafood, others focus on vegetables or meat. This diversity is exactly why a single curry powder blend can't fully represent all curries. It's more accurate to think of curry powder as one interpretation of certain spice flavors rather than a definition of curry itself. That's an important distinction, and once people understand it, they often see curry powder differently. Instead of viewing it as a mysterious ingredient, they recognize it as a convenient spice blend inspired by a much larger culinary tradition. Now let's imagine you're standing in a grocery store looking at a container of curry powder. You know it contains turmeric, cumin, coriander, ginger, and several other spices. You know the recipe may vary depending on the manufacturer. You know it was developed as a convenient way to recreate certain spice flavors. Suddenly that ordinary container becomes a lot more interesting. It's not just a seasoning. It's a blend shaped by history, trade, culture, and convenience. And that's part of what makes food stories so fascinating. The ingredients we take for granted often have surprisingly complex backgrounds. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap. Curry powder is not a single spice. It does not come from a curry plant. Instead, it's a blend of spices that commonly includes turmeric, coriander, cumin, ginger, black pepper, and other ingredients. The exact recipe varies from brand to brand. Its bright yellow color comes primarily from turmeric. It became popular because it offered a convenient way to create complex flavors using a single seasoning blend. Most importantly, Curry powder is not the same thing as curry itself. Traditional curries are incredibly diverse and use countless combinations of ingredients and spices. Curry powder is simply one spice blend inspired by some of those flavors. So what is curry powder actually made of? The answer is a carefully balanced mixture of spices that work together to create a warm, earthy, flavorful seasoning enjoyed around the world. The next time you see a container of curry powder in your kitchen, you'll know there's much more inside than most people realize. If you enjoyed discovering the surprising truth behind curry powder, please like this video, subscribe to Consumer's Choice Top 5, and share it with someone who loves food facts, cooking, or uncovering the stories behind everyday ingredients. And before you go, answer this question in the comments. What surprised you most about curry powder? The fact that it's a spice blend? That it doesn't come from a curry plant? Or that there isn't just one recipe? We can't wait to read your answers. Thanks for watching, and please check out our previous videos.